Okay, we should be live. Welcome to the stream, everyone. We got a good one for you today. We've got a Trooper format locals here. Trooper format, if you don't know, is the format held in the SJC Indianapolis, August 2007. And it's pretty fun. You know, a lot of different decks are running around. The Forbidden Limitless is basically the same as Demise if you caught the stream last week for that one. But it should still be a lot of fun. So we've got the people here. So I'm just going to shuffle up the seeds because we got 8 players exactly. So good number. I always shuffle them twice. So, you know, no sort of accusations of bias or anything like that, you know, in terms of how I'm shuffling it. But we're starting off the tournament now. So there we go. 8 people, 3 rounds. And this might go actually pretty quickly since Trooper format is, you know, a very quick format overall. So, yeah, I'll just let people know that the tournament's begun. Okay. Gerbil says, I went to Dairy Queen today and asked for a Troop Dupe scoop of ice cream. Apparently they don't serve that there. Damn. Oh, Dairy Queen's dead to me. That's what I'm saying. I'll never go to Dairy Queen again. I want my Troop Dupe scoop of ice cream. You know, if they don't know what that means, then clearly they have not been studying the old Yu-Gi-Oh formats enough here. But yeah, it's truly a travesty that you can't get that sort of ice cream in the modern day. You got to go all the way back to 2007 for that sort of thing. Damn, it's awful, awful stuff. Shameful stuff, even. Yeah, might be calling for a boycott on Dairy Queen here. Wasn't expecting that, but you know, based on that, I might have to. I don't know, but they will fold the power of the YGO from Zero community and get that Troop Dupe scoop of ice cream on the menu. Gosh darn it. Anyways, we got a game versus Clemens and Morbid Obesity here. So let's see how they do, what they're playing, and how things are going to go. Now, a very common deck in this format is Perfect Circle Monarch. Of course, you don't have Lad, but you do still have the Rises, which are very good. You've got Phoenix from Blast. You can spin things back as well. So that deck is very good in this format. But there are other decks that can counter it, like Machine OTK is a deck that you can play because you do have 3 card troopers that you can machine dupe into things. So that's where the format gets its name from. Because the idea would be that you summon a card trooper, activate machine duplication, and then your opponent scoop. You know, it's not quite lethal at that point because 1900 times 3, which is only 5700, but it generally is enough to get you down to a point where, like, you know, you're basically dead, especially because Ring of Destruction is legal in the format as well, and can make things even more aggressive. If you've got other things like limiter removal, that can also boost your stuff up to kill. So, you know, it's a very, very good combo. Perfect Circle Monarch is just a little bit more consistent, I think, is what people have found. But the format's still very underexplored. Like, there are still, you know, decks that people are testing out and playing. Like, Six Hands did relatively well at the last tournament we held for Trooper format. So, like, there are other things you can be playing. Baboon Burn is another deck you can play if you want to. So, like, there are other things. But definitely a bit underexplored as far as these GX formats go. And it seems like Morbid Obesity is going to rip out a Necro Valley from hand. Okay, very interesting card. Not played too often. But it does stop things like Disc Commander from coming back because you've got to bring that back through some other means. And Necro Valley stops that from going through. So that's pretty good against the Perfect Circle Monarch deck. But it seems like Morbid Obesity is going to summon a card for Mill 3. And, oh, Treeborn Frog is a good mill there. And, you know, they will be able to get that back if they don't have a back row here to do stuff with. So they might just leave this card trooper unprotected here, just being like, well, I get Treeborn Frog back anyways next turn, and I can use that tribute for a Monarch. Because Treeborn Frog is not affected by Necro Valley. Necro Valley only stops cards, and this time, it only stops cards that move other cards. So if a Treeborn Frog moves itself, then the Necro Valley will not be affected, or will not stop it. So, but it seems like Morbid Obesity is setting a pair and passing back. This is a bit of an interesting one. I would not necessarily do this unless they're both chainable and usable here. Like if you've got double Dust Shoot, obviously it's good to use. But I feel like it is a bit of a risk because you want that Treeborn Frog to come back and stop your opponent's stuff, especially knowing what your opponent has in terms of like seeing it off coffee. I'm kind of confused why they went for this route, but maybe because they know what their opponent has, they're playing around specific things, right? Maybe they saw that their opponent has a Coffee of their own, or maybe they've got a Royal Tribute plus Necro Valley that they can pull off. Although if they have that, probably wouldn't send one of the Necro Valleys to grave, probably send the Tribute. But this could mean that, Clemens might get into another way to get into Necro Valley and Royal Tribute them. So it's a bit tricky there. But anyways, Card Trooper is going to mill 3 more, buffing up to 1900 here. And it's going to mill a Stratos, a Ryza, and a Sangan. Not terrible mills, all things considered. If you've got like Call the Haunted or a Premat, that's very good bringing those back. But Gravekeepers, if this is indeed a Gravekeeper deck, they do play a 2k Defender here, which Card Trooper cannot get over. So, it's just kind of an awkward spot for Morbid Obesity. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I don't know. I'm not sure what they're going to do here. If they had the Treeborn Frog come back, maybe things would have been a little bit different, but we don't know if they've got like Monarchs in hand or something like that. But they're going to go for a Wing Blast now. Interesting choice, but I guess they're going to... Okay, pitching a Mirror Force. Probably spinning back the set Monster, I'd assume. Yep, there goes the Monster. Is there a heavy set? Maybe a Pro set heavy? And then you heavy the board? Or maybe it's just another Phoenix Wind Blast that you're waiting for a future point. Either way here, I mean, this is 1900 getting in. And if you've got another way to deal with the set Monster in the following turn, then it's pretty good. Okay, Warrior Lady coming down now. I feel like I maybe would have summoned out the Warrior Lady before going for the Wind Blast, but I think this is fine. Yeah, it's fine. Like most of what your opponent has in hand, so like they'd have to basically draw Mirror Force here, because I assume you're not attacking into this with a known Mirror Force in the back row, but you never know what people are gonna do. But I feel like if there's a Mirror Force in the back, you just... Okay, there is a Ring of Destruction in the back row. They're gonna ring the Card Trooper there. I guess they were expecting their set monster to sort of stay on field for a bit longer. Because otherwise you'd ring the Card Trooper when you're taking less damage. Or maybe they just want to have their opponent drop down lower. Because it is an aggressive format. Gravekeepers is not a deck that really wants to get aggressive most of the time. So generally don't care about that. But do I agree with ringing the monster that draws? I personally don't as well. Because you'd think that you'd get more value off ringing the Warrior Lady. Then it can't also remove from play a card as well. So, it's kind of interesting there, but maybe they've got, a Brain Con to take control of the Warrior Lady, and then you can, Brain Con, use Warrior Lady, crash into your opponent's thing. But yeah, exactly. What's Clemens' plan? We've seen Clemens do very well in these locals in the past, so we don't quite know exactly what their plan is here. Maybe they just don't want Morbid Obesity to get the free mills every turn, but I don't know. It seems kind of weird here. Morbid Obesity, if that is a set Phoenix Wind Blast, they can use in Standby Phase and then bring back a Treeborn Frog and then tribute that for a Ryza or something like that. So that's not a terrible plan, but it looks like they're just going to go to main here. So what are they going to do against that set? I mean, they probably have a good read on what the set is, given that, they did Coffee the Hand turn 1. So you probably have some idea, okay, if you see a Spy, it's probably going to be the Spy, right? Because Spy is a card that does require, very specific outs, right? So... your opponents to have those outs in order to actually deal with it here. But pre-mat here is going to be pretty decent, depending on what you bring back. If you pre-mat back, Ryza, you can just attack over Spy and then do stuff with that. But it looks like they're going to pre-mat back the Stratos. This, to me, says that they're probably not a Spy set, or at least they didn't see a Spy turn 1, or else you try and clear that Spy as quickly as possible. But, Stratos getting the search is still pretty good. Maybe they got a D-draw in hand. Maybe that's why they're doing this. It could also be that case where, you see Spy, but you're like, well, I have D-draw in hand that I want to turn on, and if I can really get this going, then I can get my plays started and maybe draw into a Ryza that can deal with the Spy a bit better. So that is also an option there. But definitely seems like Morbid Obesity is on a Perfect Circle Monarch deck. I mean, they have to have a search left, right? There's no heroes in grave, so yeah, there's the Disc Commander. I feel like there has to be a D-draw coming, or else this play wouldn't make as much sense. Get Triggering over Stratos for a Ryza, so you're able to spin back that card. I feel like, honestly, here, it might have been better to go Sangan instead of the Ryza, because, Sangan can still get you the thing there. So the sad thing about strawberry jam, macaroni and cheese, this broke my heart when it happened. Basically, I was having trouble with the level, and I thought it was because one of the mods wasn't working. So I was like, okay, I'll update the mods. So I like updated the mods, but I think I did it wrong because it basically made it so I couldn't access strawberry jam anymore. So like, I don't know what happened there. Like I updated the mods. Apparently they didn't update correctly, and it basically locked me out of strawberry jam. I think it got rid of my save file as well. So that's why I haven't been playing strawberry jam, because I lost it. It's not on my computer anymore. Yeah. So eventually I'll probably go back to it, like once I've had enough time away from the game, just because like I'll probably play through the beginner and intermediate lobbies just to warm myself back up again with it. But it'll be a while because I put a lot of time into that, and I lost all the progress there. Yeah, I'm down to try a new platform. I've been playing a little bit of Jump King. Jump King combines both a platformer and these sort of like getting over it style games that I've played before. And it's like pretty interesting. Like I don't like it as much as getting over it so far, but I am getting okay at it. So like maybe I'll stream that at some point. But I sort of like just play Jump King when I'm like listening to a podcast or like watching a video or something like that. Just something else to do in the background, because it is definitely like, in my opinion, it's less interesting than something like Getting Over It. Because Getting Over It, you've got like, crazy like hammer movements and things like that. Whereas like Jump King is like, from my perspective, I'm doing something, right? Because I have to time my jump and stuff. But in terms of a viewer seeing it, right, it's a bit less interesting because there's no like visual feedback for what's going on my keyboard really until the jump actually happens, right? So that can maybe build some suspense, but like, I don't know, it definitely feels like not the best streaming game. But I've also been playing some Marvel Rivals, so maybe I stream some Marvel Rivals. That's been a fun game that I've been playing probably a bit too much of. But it's one of those games where like you play it with friends a lot of the time, so it's like, you got other plans for the night, and the friends like, oh, you want to play some Marvel Rivals, and you're like, oh well, I guess I'm playing Marvel Rivals now, because they need someone to play with. You don't want a solo queue in that game because it's rough. Yeah, Doctor Strange is really fun. I don't play tanks as much, but of the tanks that I have played, like Penny and Doctor Strange are probably my favorites. Yeah, I'm mainly a strategist. Like I main like Luna and Cloak and Dagger. Those are my two mains. But I do like Invisible Woman as well. I think she's fun so far. Well, let's dive into Splendor vs. Dump Truck, because that game was a bit of a time, so we want to see as many of these games as possible going on. Hydrogeddon attacking into a Disc Commander, bringing out another Hydrogeddon, getting in for 2,500 total. Interesting that they went for the Hydrogeddon attack instead of the Grand Mole attack, but I guess the Grand Mole is still on field to bounce something back later. But yeah, but Rival is fun. It's very fun. I like going for the achievements as well. I've got a fair amount of the achievements for the different characters, but some of them are tough. So I haven't gotten like the toughest ones, but a lot of them you can do pretty easily if you get a friend with you. But Fearmonger is going to be interesting, attacking over Grand Mole, so you probably do bounce this, I assume. Because you don't necessarily want to attack over the Fearmonger, right? Like, if you attack over Fearmonger, they're getting back Disc Commander, getting 2 draws next turn, so it's, like, not the best. So I think that was a decent trade for Dump Truck, but now they're in a bit of a tough spot because they're taking 3,200 here. Splevin could always summon out the Grand Mole again if they don't fear Torrential. But looks like they're just going to attack in with 1,600 with the Hydrogeddon. Playing around Mirror Force here. I think that does make some sense. Main 2, do you summon the Grand Mole, or do you just leave it at this, is the question. But, I mean, okay, yeah, Venom has the biggest cake in the game. I do think, though, that if we're talking about cake, I think that people have, been really on, like, Invisible Woman's cake, and that is very true. But I feel like Cloak and Dagger still has bigger cake than Invisible Woman. Not why I play Cloak and Dagger. I like Cloak and Dagger just because, like, auto-aiming on healing is pretty good, and also, like, she has a very flexible kit. Like going into Cloak for damage occasionally and things like that. But yeah, it's definitely, yeah. But Hydro get in, of course, as Janjo says. I agree. Very much Hydro getting in here. And Downbreak is down to 3,900, which is a scary spot to be, especially when Giant Rat is in the picture, which probably means that Splevin is on Baboon Burn or something similar to that. But we'll have to see exactly how this one goes. It seems like Call the Haunted for a Disc Commander into drawing 2 into Ryza, spinning back one of the Hydrogens, just leaving a dead draw here for Splevin. I think that makes some sense. You might go for the back row instead, being like, oh, I need to protect the Ryza. But I do think it makes more sense to spin back the Hydrogen, because if it is something like a chainable, like Ring, then it's much better to give the opponent a dead draw rather than just have them chain to the Ryza. Going for a Mally to protect themselves here, but it won't protect them that much if there's one more Hydra getting left in deck. So, well, actually, there could be Crush Card. There could be Crush Card in the picture, so that'd be kind of rough. I would say Hydra again can't be easily slotted into any deck. There are a fair amount of decks that play it, don't get me wrong. But I feel like a lot of decks can't really slot it in as much. It does take a fair amount of deck space. And yeah, and also, yeah, there are some, like as Janjo says, I wouldn't play Hydra and Demise because Demise is sort of needing to fill up on its own thing there. So, yeah. But anyways, Spludden will be moving on to the next round, knocking out Dump Truck in the first round, which is kind of wild. Dump Truck is a, common winner of these events. So, wild that they got knocked out round one, but that happens to the best of us, So we're diving into M-Chobes versus Corinna here. It seems like M-Chobes have won game one here, and we're going to see who wins. Okay, Coffee is always a good start from Corinna there. Getting a peek at M-Chobes' hand, ripping something out. This should give us some insight into what M-Chobes is playing here. But yeah, Hydra is just, it is good in certain situations, but I think also it's kind of like a bit more underwhelming in this format than in something like a Reaper format. I remember it took Reaper format by storm when people were really experimenting with that format. But in this format where you've got like Card Trooper as a great normal summon, you got Stratos a great normal summon, right? 1600 is not really the best anymore. Not to say it was the best in Reaper format, but like there's much better normal summons that you can do besides Geddon. But this is a very interesting hand. It seems like M-Chobes is playing 6 Samurai here. So if you send the Grandmaster, they can bring back with Call, but same with Shien. So it's kind of awkward here. I don't know what you take. I think, honestly, maybe the Cyber Dragon. But it looks like they're going to take Call the Haunted. That also works. Similar sort of idea. You Call the Haunted to bring back Cyber Dragon. So I think it makes sense. But this does mean that Corinna does not have much spell and trap removal, I think. Because otherwise, they probably would have left the Call, something else, and then saved a spell trap removal for the Call. But it is a bit risky if M-Chobes draws into any 6-Sam here, and that's not contested by Corinna, then M-Chobes gets a full board of 6-Sam stuff set up, right? You summon out 6-Sam monster, spell summon out Grandmaster, spell summon out Shien, and you're off to the races here. But it looks like M-Chobes is going to set one pass back. That might just be a new card here. Could be the Brain Control as a bluff. But DD Warrior Lady coming down here. That's going to attack in for 15. DD Warrior Lady good against Grandmaster. However, this could be a bit awkward here for Corinna because M-Chobes could potentially spell summon out Sidra, BrainCon the Warrior Lady, and then tribute for a Grandmaster because there's very little risk tributing for Grandmaster, especially if you're tributing over a Warrior Lady here. But they could also just preserve the BrainCon for a big aggressive push later, especially because Grandmaster is so easily special summonable if you get into a 6-Sam here. So I don't hate just going for Sidra over the Warrior Lady. The one thing is you're potentially opening yourself to more damage in the future. But again, I don't hate it. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. And we'll have to see exactly what they do here. They're just going to attack over the Warrior Lady here. And that will banish the Sidra. We don't quite know what Corinna's on yet. So, we'll have to see exactly what they're doing. But if Corinna is on like a Bazoo Return deck, which is a deck you can play in this format as well, then that's pretty good setup for them. Of course, 6-Sams could also play Return if they know their opponent's like hard siding against them and they're siding banish stuff. But yeah. Okay, it looks like Gerbil won against Gustafsson, so we'll show that off there. But first, I want to show off the play that I mentioned here. They did draw into Iroh, so you can go Iroh into Grandmaster into Shien because that is, 2 names of 6 Samurai here, and then that's enough for Shien to come down. So you could be saving the TT here, but honestly, I feel like you just go for this play anyways. Like, you're just playing around TT exactly. And it looks like that will indeed go through. So, yeah, attacking him with everything. This can be a bit awkward if it's Mirror Force set, but it looks like it is not Mirror Force set. So that's going to be a bit unfortunate for Corinna here. No Dim Priz, so you can't Dim Priz a Shien here. And, yeah, it's going to drop Corinna down to 100 life points. So 6-Sam are getting aggressive here, cutting down Corinna's life total to size. And that's going to be a bit worrying for Corinna here. They've got 1 Spell Trap activation this turn because of the Shien. And that might not be enough. We'll have to see if it is. Of course, there are other things that they could do here. So they could go Sidra into Tribute for Ryza. But, oh, it looks like they just had a bunch of spells in hand. Yeah, that is rough. Yeah, that's a rough hand. Not much you can really do there. We don't know what the set is, but like probably not something you can really do much with. Looked like they had a Phoenix Within loss as well, so but yeah, you can't really do anything with that hand. Yeah, so that's just the end of the game there. It does indeed happen sometimes. But so that'll be Gerbil moving on to face off against Splevin. And that'll be M-Shobes moving on to face off against the winner of Clemens versus Childhood Obesity here. So we'll have to see exactly how it goes. But yeah, Uncle Iroh, exactly. Yeah. I don't know if Six Samurai Iroh is as wise as Uncle Iroh is from Avatar, but still cool to see the name there. I want to jump into the Gerbil versus Splevin game because oh wow, this is already over. Damn. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, there's a bit of weird stuff like with YouTube recommending videos. Yeah, it's like it's kind of rough. The algorithm does what the algorithm wants, but essentially the long and short of it is that subscribing does not guarantee that you'll see whenever someone releases new videos, right? So, ticking the, bell really helps with that. Speaking of, if you're watching the stream and not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. So that way you can hopefully get notified when I release new videos. Do the bell, do that stuff. But yeah, sub feed is also a great thing to do. Because like, that is the videos from the people you're sub to. So that should hopefully be what you want to see. But yeah, it's rough. Okay, I'm going to dive into the Clemens versus Morbid Obesity game because if that's still going on, that is that over? It might looks like it might be. Oh no, there it is. Clemens versus Morbid Obesity. See, there's a bit of a grinder here. Deck Devi used up here. So yeah, DDV still goes off because you did tribute the assailant there. That's gonna be potentially rough. Reaper gone. Yeah. Yeah, I also wish that YouTube was default in sub feed, or at least that they were more clear about what that did. Oh, spinning back Necro Valley here. Okay, so I get why they're doing this. They probably want to bring back the Disc Commander here. So, yeah, I think that makes sense. Yep, and now we get spun. So that means that Obesity can potentially bring back that Disc Commander here. Yeah, DDV getting a peek at the hand, ripping out things directly from that. Also, the Reaper should be gone here. But we'll stop that. Yeah, hitting a Mali as well. Okay, Mali, another... Well, again, Mali can banish itself under Necro Valley here because it moves itself out of the graveyard, unlike some other things. But yeah, Call the Haunted being used here to bring back a Disc Commander. So that is why they went for the spin back on the Necro Valley. I feel like you probably want to... Well, oh, double Mali. Oh, that's rough. Double Mali is always rough. But yeah. Getting the double draw. So drawing 2 in there. But yeah, this is still game 2. Game 2 is wild. But yeah, this will get hit by DDV potentially. Warrior Lady, I believe, will get hit. So yeah, Warrior Lady gets popped because it's 1500 or less. And Card Drew will also get popped. Neither of which will... So Card Drew will not get its effect off here. Because it's not in... Oh... No, it's not. So control means like you have it on field, I believe. It's not like in your possession. In your possession, I think is, yeah. Road Tribute is legal. It's been legal for pretty much the entirety of Gravekeeper's existence here. So that's a potential reason to play it. But yeah, a bit of a rough one off the Disc Commander there. Do they have a Riser or something to spin back and back row? Do they have a Mobius as well? Mobius would be pretty good here. Or you just poke in for 300. But they might be playing like Rite of Spirit or something, so a bit rough. Yeah, you do still have the 3rd Mali in deck, so that is a nice feature of this format, depending on what you call nice. But I would say that having 3 Malis is much better than having 2 later on. But yeah, banishing that makes sense. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Bringing it in defense is interesting. I feel like I probably would have brought in attack just to get aggressive here. You don't really care if it's Mirror Force. Like, if they Mirror Force a Disc Commander and a Mali, you're probably fine with that trade. I don't like this. I do not like this. I do not like this course of events. The reason I don't like it is because you're essentially getting less value. Okay, I guess they got the pre-mat here. Okay, I get why they're doing it now. Okay, I don't hate this now. But it's still like, it's still kind of weird because you're, like, yes, you're drawing a bunch, but you're still under DDV, so your opponent knows about the draws. Like, you're trying to draw into Ryza probably, exactly. But it's, I mean, is this worth it? Like, I don't know if it is. Frog Gone as well. And Frog Gone is actually pretty rough because Call the Haunted is now stuck on field, so you can't bring back that frog. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a bit too aggressive with the CCV, right? Yeah, I did not like that turn of events. But I want to dive into the other game here. This one looks like it's going to be a bit of a grinder. So let's dive into Spellman versus Gerbil. Seems like Gerbil is on Demise. Okay, very cool stuff. Makes sense why this was a quick one for their first match. But this is in a bad spot for Spleven here. Yeah, they do gain 1,000, or for Gerbil here. But yeah, Gerbil does gain 1,000 here. Exiled Force to pop the Gatling is going to be pretty good here. Yeah, getting rid of that's very nice. It's a bit of a tricky one. I wonder why they went for Gatling earlier instead of sitting on Doom. I don't know. But Trio is going to lock up the board state there. Now, there are some ways to deal with this. If you've got the Contract Ritual spell instead of ARA, then you can still Ritual Summon through that. But this is definitely going to be a pretty bad situation overall. Maybe they went for Gatling to pop some of the tokens, but seems like that is not going to happen as much here. Yeah, not looking good. Yeah, not everyone runs Contract in main, but this is game 2. So you might bring in Contract if you expect your opponent to bring in like Curse Seal, right? But it's tough because you can't search it with Manju or Senju because your board's clogged, right? But you can still use Contract because these all have level 2s, right? So this can be just exactly 8. Yeah, Ring doesn't even solve the issue here, really, because, like, you ring a token, and, like, oh, Heavy Storm is okay. Deal with the Panda, at least. But, yeah, it's rough. Meta also does something here. You can meta away a token. Well, no, actually, there are no level 2 fusions at this time, so you can't meta. Yeah, if Hugin was legal, you could do it, but, yeah, Splatoon probably has ways to get into the Panda. Rescue Cat is game over here. You Rescue Cat into 2 pandas, and that's the end of the game. But, yeah, not looking good here. Just setting, or not even setting, just passing. Yeah, this is Spleven's ball game. Yeah. Alvain, I don't actually know that fusion one, but, yeah, the no level 2 fusion for a long period of the game's history. It's kind of wild how long it took. But, yeah. Okay. Morphing Jar is pretty good for Spleven here. Yeah, there's a Manju and a Senju, but not getting those searches out there with those tokens on board. This might have drawn Gerbil into what they need to actually pull off something, but I mean, this could also just be the end of the game because Spleven drew into a bunch of stuff as the burn deck, but oh, it's a vanilla level 2 fusion released in the last 5 years. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of wild how long it took for them to release a level 2 fusion. They're just too afraid of, oh no, you don't want to see the rat flipping up here. You really don't want to see that. Okay, that's the end of the game. So it seems like, or not the end of the game, the end of the turn. So it seems like Spleven might have bricked a little bit here. Are we going to see a contract play here? Please, I want to see the contract. I want to see the contract. Oh, no. Just setting 2, setting 3. Passing back. Okay. Secret Barrel here. That's 5, 8, 11. So that will be 33, or no, 2,200 from a Secret Barrel. Yeah, TT would be pretty good here as well, but unfortunately they do not have it. Ring on the rat as well, so that's why they flipped it up last turn. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's going to be the end of the game. So, yeah, rough stuff there. TT would actually kill them here, even if they TT'd, because that blows up all the tokens, and yeah. Double Demise in hand, no contract, damn. Yeah, they cannot be tributed for a bug. They can't be used for a tribute summon. So, yeah, they can be tributed for a ritual summon, though, but not for a tribute summon. So, yeah, I think that was good there. So, yeah, that's going to be Splevin moving on to the finals of the event. And now we got to dive back in to Clemens versus Morbid Obesity if that game is still going on. It looks like it might not be, though. Oh, no, it still is. So it seems like Clemens won that game, too. And, yeah, so we'll have to see who's able to pull it out in the end here. Let's see. This game has been going on for half an hour. Wowza. It's a bit of a long one. Commandant searching at a Necro Valley here. So Necro Valley can get some stuff going. It'd be kind of wild if this deck managed to win, because then it would be Gravekeepers versus 6 Sams for the next matchup, and then whichever deck won that versus Baboon Burn for the final matchup. So, very much non-Perfect Circle Monarch decks, very much non-Machine Aggro decks. So, yeah, DDV, I guess, did get there. Yeah, Zachary and Cheese does say it was good enough there. Crush Card Virus, though, on the normal summon. See, that's what I like for Crush Card Virus. I like using it in response to something else. You could just shotgun it, but, generally you want your opponent to, invest something into the turn to, use it. You could argue that against Gravekeepers, you want to shotgun it to hit, the Commandants, but I think it is fine just to wait for the normal summon and go for that. But I don't know. It's tricky because they could also just have terraforming, right? Yeah. But yeah, once the normal summon's used up, then you can actually do some stuff here. I mean, honestly, they could have waited a bit longer too. Wait for a potential knock or something to come down, or them to enter the battle phase in case they've got some weird way to do more stuff here. But yeah, I think this is still fine. It's fine enough. It's fine enough. So we'll have to see if the CCV can carry the game here. As a note, CCV is a bit of a controversial card in these formats. I mean, even by Perfect Circle format, there are people who don't play with CCV because they're like, well, it's a prize card. It was tough to get your hands on. So, it doesn't really match how the format was at the time for the average player. But the way I consider it is that, in re-exploring these formats, you're going to wind up with formats that don't resemble how things were at the time for the average player. That's just the nature of optimization. As people sort of refine the deck list even further, the decks will get better, the play will get better, and it'll just be something that you can't really control, right? You're never going to be able to exactly recapture the feeling that you had at the time. So I'm just well, if we're going to wind up with decks that are more and more optimized anyways, we might as well just view this as being at the top of the top tables. And at the top of the top tables, they had Crush Card Virus. So that's my logic for, explaining why CCV is illegal in these formats. I totally get people who don't want to play with CCV in the format and who say, oh, no, we're not including it in the format. I totally get that. It's just, for me, I feel like, it's kind of futile, to do that sort of thing. But I don't begrudge them for doing it. Anyways, what's going to go on here is there a Ryza to spin something back. We know about a Sangan drawn, so it's probably a Sangan set, unless it's something like a Spy, which, Morbid Obesity would have seen from the hand as well. Another reason to potentially save the Crush card for a bit, but, with that Spear Soldier, that was going to attack over the set anyways, so... Gerbil says not being able to relentlessly cheat on DB like they did in real tournaments also makes these formats completely different. Yep, that does happen as well. Not saying that everyone who won those old events are cheaters, because that's not true. That's not what we're saying at all. But acting like no cheating happened at all in in-person events is also not necessarily correct. So it's interesting to see, online how things go. But yeah, go to Stein. Others have their prize cards, so we might as well be consistent. Exactly. You can't say, oh, Gold Shark's legal, while also saying that, CCV should not be legal. Not that everyone's saying that, but, I feel like the big one is, Shrink, right? Shrink is one that people are perfectly fine with, and a lot of people have Shrink in their lists, but, at the time, it might have been a bit hard to get your hands on until it was reprinted. So, yeah, I don't know. We can't, pick and choose if we want to be consistent on this. Yeah, unintentional cheating or unfair judge calls can happen as well. Although with Dueling Book, that can still happen, right? That is something that can happen in Dueling Book as well. This is a manual simulator, so it just can happen like that. Yeah, and Rage Spirit's going to be pretty good here. Bring back a Gravekeeper from Grave, getting around the Crush Card Virus in that way. But, yeah. Yeah, this is going to be rough for Obesity here. This could be pretty rough. But yeah, they did get signed in DB2. Yep, so it was reprinted and, pretty common that you could have it. Was the best thing around? Well, maybe not. I don't know. Because, Stein decks have been winning goat events, sporadically here and there. So it is a deck that people look down upon that maybe people should, sort of view a bit better. But yeah, DB shuffle algorithm makes Gravekeeper stronger. I mean, people complain about the DB shuffle algorithm a lot, but it's tough to know how much of that is actually it not being random enough and how much of it is actually just being too random, right? Because, as humans, we tend to notice the times when things look weird to us. But in true randomness, like, you do wind up with those weird events occasionally, right? So it's a bit tough to actually, parse the signal from the noise there, especially when you view it, like, through human eyes, right? But Obesity thinking about what to do. I don't know, it's a tough spot for them. You probably have to read that the first set is Sangan, but flipping up a Frog to go into a TT here, maybe. That seems like a bad move, especially when you know that they've got Rite of Spirit here and a Sangan. I guess they did it for the Morphing Jar. Okay, that makes sense, but I feel like Demise could probably play around Morphing Jar a bit. I don't know, but yeah. I mean, I will say, I did get my college degree. I got my undergraduate in a science-related field. So, there we go. Or not a science-related field, a scientific field, right? Like, so yeah, not an engineer though. I mean, I guess technically I could be an engineer, but technically you could call me an engineer, but I'm not an engineer. Yeah, my current job is actually very different from what I studied in school. But yeah, I do love science. Science is great. I actually, just for fun, I actually been working through Introduction to Number Theory here. It's pretty fun. Just keeping my math skills a bit up over time. Since I'm out of college, I'd like to keep my skills sharp. So yeah, I've been going through that slowly but surely. Pretty fun. It's relatively, like, it's not the most advanced, like, number theory textbook that you could get. Like, for instance, they only cover, like, I think the last chapter is like quadratic field stuff, but, like, yeah, it's fun. It's very, very cool. Number theory stream. Maybe I do a stream just going through the problems in it. It's theory like 2 + 3 = fish, potentially, depending on what fish is. But yeah, I would be in the number one category for number theory streams. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Maybe 3 Blue 1 Brown streams that same day, and I'm like, damn. But yeah, okay. They did have a Ryza here. I feel like he just Ryza back. Like, I don't know. Like, the past couple turns have been kind of awkward from Obesity's point of view. Like, I feel like with Treeborn Frog, right, you don't flip it up and then activate TT. You just tribute the Treeborn Frog for the Ryza if they had that. Spin back one of the sets, and then you attack over the other. If it's Morphing Jar, sure, they get the draws, but you get the draws first, and you've got the initiative on it. So, like, I don't know. I don't know. It's just kind of some suspect plays here, I think, overall. But it's a tough matchup. I mean, you don't face off against Gravekeepers all that often, so, like, you're not prepared for this that often. But, like, there have been some questionable decisions here, I think. But again, I do to say, as the commentator, watching the duels here, it's easy to commentate from the sidelines. It's much harder to be in the pilot seat, actually playing the games, figuring out the best lines and things like that. So, I always say this stuff, never to, sort of denigrate the people playing or, do stuff like that. I always say it just to, just provide my own commentary and hopefully help people just watching to figure out, what the best strategies might be and what to actually do in these sort of situations themselves. But Clemens will be moving on to face off against M. Shobes here. Very interesting matchup. Gravekeepers versus Six Sams. I feel like Six Sams have an edge here because they've got Iroh to pop, like, spies and stuff. They're not really hit hard by DDV at all. Like, DDV hits, like, Yaichis, I think, and that's it, unless they're playing Kamon in the main. But you might side in Kamon, actually, to pop, like, Necro Valley and stuff. But I feel like Six Sams have a very good matchup against Gravekeepers. But we'll have to see. It does shut off Grandmaster, so that is true. But I don't know how often that's going to happen. But actually, it did not shut off Grandmaster. Grandmaster can add itself to hand. So it doesn't even shut off Grandmaster. It does shut off Grandmaster if you're not trying to add Grandmaster back to hand, but Grandmaster can add itself back. So I think it does still work on Grandmaster. But yeah, we got M-Shobes with Clemens here. Let's see who will win. But yeah, maybe a virus meta. I don't necessarily think that DDV is like the strongest here, like DDV Turbo. I think Gravekeepers are not quite it. Like, if you look at Edison, like, the reason why we're in a virus meta in Edison is, one, Frogs hard lose that. Like, they hard lose to DDV. I mean, you can win a game if after getting DDV if you're Frogs, but it is much, much harder. Two, there are very, very good decks on their own that can then add DDV to them to get better, right? Blackwings and Vayu Turbo are both very good on their own merits, and DDV can naturally slot into them because they're just making big guys all the time, right? Whereas, like, Gravekeepers, I would say the Gravekeepers is not really good enough on its own merits to necessarily win all the time without the DDVs. And even with the DDVs, like, what decks are they killing? I guess they're killing Demise. That is something good, like, or fine enough. But, like, other than that, it's kind of awkward there. Like, yeah, I guess they're hitting some parts of Perfect Circle, but the thing is, with Perfect Circle Monarch, like, you kind of want the cards that have, like, less than 1500 attack to be engraved, so that's a bit iffy, but yeah. So it seems like there's an Iroh, a Yaichi, a Reasoning, a Sidra, and a Reasoning here. So setting up for a pretty aggressive second turn here. Sending a Reasoning. Yep, makes sense. You don't want them to get double Reasoning off here. But yeah, this is going to be pretty good for M-Jobs. Potentially, depending on what Clemens has set. Okay, looks like set 1, set 2, and pass back. Okay, so M-Jobs probably... Oh, Dust Shoot. Ooh, Dust Shoot is going to be nasty. Oh, Dust Shoot plus the Comfy. Oof. Oof, oof, oof. So this could actually get a bit rough for M-Jobs, but they still do have the Reasoning here. Drew MST. So MST could be pretty good, sniping that other back row there, honestly. Spitting back Cider, though. There is also an argument to just popping the Necro Valley because Iroh can beat over Assailant natively. So, yeah, I don't know. MST on the unknown back row. I think that's fine. Right, a Spirit. Okay. But yeah, you're kind of sort of going all in on the Reasoning, right? If you miss the Reasoning, now you're in a bit of a tough spot. So actually, MST on Necro Valley probably would have been a little bit better here. But, yeah. Yep, as exactly as Gerbil says. Widespread Ruin beats Cyber Phoenix. So that's sort of what you do. But yeah, Clemens calling 5 here. Oh, but the Shogun Shien is hit. Oh my word. Oh, that's wild. Never punished. So yeah, the Shien comes down, and that will be able to beat over the Assailant there, going for an Iroh as well. Honestly, I think you just go for... I would have potentially gone for Yaichi here, honestly, because if Yaichi's set up, then you can pop the back row if they have like TT or something. But yeah, that was a huge Reasoning. Yeah, that was wild. Wild stuff there. Yeah, set 1 monster. Set a back row, pass back. Honestly, you probably commit the Yaichi here. I mean, there is a case where it is TT. But, like, you got to turn on your Iroh, right? So you just got to go for Yaichi. Yep, there's the Yaichi. Solemn on the Yaichi. Okay. So that's going to get solemned. Question is, you still taking the set with Shien? That's a reasonable question here. Yeah, no Iroh effect for M-Shobes here. But you could still potentially attack in with the Shien. If it's not Spy, you're in a really good spot. If it is Spy, you're still in a fine spot because they can still flip up the Spy if they want to at a later time, right? So next turn, they're probably going to trade your Spy, the Spy for an Iroh anyways, because you just flip up the Spy, crash into Iroh, and then sit on just a Spy anyways, right? So I think if it's guard, you're also fine with that because, you know, they have to bounce back the Iroh or they lose, right? So, yeah. Well, no, I don't necessarily think it's even that big of a punish because then the Shien is back in hand, right? Like, I think that, I think it's just better to attack in. Like, if you think about all the different cases, right? If it's guard set, right, they can just keep the guard set anyway, so you're back in the same spot you are next turn. If it's, like, and if they've got a way to beat over Iroh, then you're in a really bad spot here because you can't bring out Shien easily. So if it's guard set, they'd have to bounce back the Iroh, right? You've still got Shien on field, which is very annoying to deal with. And, oh, Tribute is going to pitch that Shien. Oh, okay. So Clemens did this to survive, but it's not necessarily the best thing for them here. But, Yeah, I mean, I think that they... Oh, BrainCon. Yep, BrainCon will do it. So, yeah, there it goes. Okay, that explains why they did it, because then if it was Spy, then you actually do win the following turn, because you just take control of the Spy. But I do think it ultimately would have been better just to attack in, because actually if it was Spy, you still have the Spy there face up, because it brings out another thing. So I just feel like it would have been better to attack there, but it's a minor thing. It didn't matter in the end. So yeah. But yeah, I think the move with guard would have still been to attack in, because they bounce back Iroh. You can just summon out Iroh on the following turn, and it's, yeah. Spy does deck then, that's true. But like, I don't know. Do you care about decking by one card that much? Like, it's a bit tough to say, especially when BrainCon's in hand. Like, what do they have that they're gonna try and draw into that like makes the difference here? But yeah. Against reasoning, I don't know exactly what you mean by that comment, but I'm for reasoning. I think reasoning is very good in this deck, but yeah, BrainCon is wild. BrainCon is pretty popular in Chimera Tech, I think. I mean, you can play Monarchs in Chimera Tech, but also just good to take a variety of different things. That's true. I mean, they are winning, but even if you win, there are sort of different things you can do to tighten up play here and there, right? Like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's always the thing. Like, you can always point to like, oh, well, this person won and this person lost. But sometimes in Yu-Gi-Oh, the person who plays better does not always win. Not to say that MCHO's played that badly. I think MCHO's played that fine. It's just, I do think that like, I do think that like the right play to do would have been to attack into the set, because like the worst case scenario for you is they dicked in by one card, which is honestly not a bad scenario for you either way, right? But in every other scenario, like you're in a better spot by attacking in. And even if you are in this position where they decked in, like you're still in a good spot, right? But that Royal Tribute's going to go a bit hard here first turn, pitching a Sidra and a Yaichi. And then anything else? I don't actually know if Royal Tribute reveals in this form. I don't think we... Like in the past, what we've done, we just said like, no, it didn't reveal. Because like we follow the GOAT rulings for this sort of thing. So GOAT rulings for this, I believe, is not revealed, but I mean, I can check. So yeah, GOAT format. Because it's like not in person, right? So yeah, it doesn't tribute any cards. So, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it doesn't. Let's see how to play rules and policies, ruling notices, and ruling for Mind Crush. So yeah. I'm gonna control F Royal Tribute. No? I thought they mentioned Royal Tribute in this article. Okay, I think I would say no. I would say no. But that's just my that's just I think it's a no. I wasn't able to find it on the thing here, but yeah, let's go with no reveal. Yeah, Clement's saying let's go with no. And, yeah, I think it's no. I think it is like GOAT. Like if it's an online thing, then it's not revealed. But Death Shoot here is a bit bold, just saying that the top card drawn is a monster. But yeah, I mean, I guess this does show the hand there. Prima, Comfy, and Reason. That's very good for M-Jubs here. That's about as good as it gets. You go Reasoning, and then you can pre-map back something. Like, that's very, very good sort of hand to have. If you're going to get tributed and dust shooted turn one, I mean, obviously you wouldn't want to get dust shooted, because dust shoot for the Iroh is very, very rough, because you'd like to just Iroh, pre-map back the Aichi, and then pop the set. But yeah, calling 4 here to get rid of potential... Oh, wait, Necro Valley's on field, so you can't even pre-map back the thing. But yeah, going into a 6 Sam there. Yeah, can't pre-map back the Yaichi, unfortunately. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking like, oh, Yaichi doing stuff with that. But yeah, another wrong call. Yeah, Reasoning can go hard if you miss all the calls. But yeah, attacking in the set, hitting into a Spy, so that'll be 400 damage here. So yeah. Here, I think it didn't make sense to attack in. Because if you attack in, you can't actually clear it. Oh, I guess if you attack in a Spy, you can't clear that too. But like, Yeah, so I guess I forgot the Necro Valley buffed the Spy. So yeah, Necro Valley would have prevented the Spy from being popped. Whereas like if they flip up the Spy and attack, then you actually can pop it. But yeah, Assailant will be able to deal with that Grandmaster there, attacking over it there. Coffee will be able to be used to rip that final card out of hand, ripping a final Necro Valley. But you're in a kind of tough spot. You need to draw MST here pretty much exactly to deal with the Necro Valley, but your clock is a bit fast here because that Spear Soldier is going to have 2,000 as well. And not choosing to switch the Spy to attack is also fine for Clemens here, but I think they probably could have, like, I don't know, if you draw to like Zanji, like, do you care about, you know, attacking the Spy? Probably not. But yeah, it's going to be rough. Rhoda is something at least, but is it something good, as the question. I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, 500 boost does go hard. I mean, it puts them in DDV range to tribute, and also just increases the clock a fair bit here. But I don't exactly know what you can get here that really helps you. Yeah, it's just going to be a bit defeat, yeah. Tier format before tier, before BA, before Lightsworn. Yeah, you had the milling on Trooper. That was the first real meta miller, you know, if you don't count Future Fusion. But yeah, it's probably not really seen too many Machino DK decks, so you haven't really seen too much Troop duping and scooping. Right now, we actually know the decks that are facing off in the next couple things. So right now, we got 6 Sams versus Gravekeepers, and the winner of that's going to face off in the finals against Baboon Bird. So kind of wild to see no Trooper there. I've been doing pretty good. Can't complain. I need to get more games that I've been getting lately to make more videos for them, but should be done with Perfect Circle in the next 2 weeks, I'd say. So either before January ends or the beginning of February, we should be wrapping up with coverage on that. We'll be moving into Dad Return, and it's kind of wild that we're so close to the Synchro era. Like, that's kind of boggling my mind a little bit, but I've been doing good. I've been having fun. Yeah, thank you for asking, Eddie Miguel. How are you doing? You doing good? I hope you're doing good. I hope everyone's doing good in the chat here. Yeah, Coffee here to rip a card out of hand from Clemens. And later tonight, I'm going to get dinner with some friends, so that'll be nice. Yep, so looking forward to that. But yeah, Coffee ripping out a Morphing Jar. That's pretty good. And leaving them with what? What are they leaving them with? Coffee is one of the problematic cards in this format for sure. Ready Spirit, Ring of Destruction. Cursed Seal, very interesting tech against Reasoning. That's kind of cool. And a Book of Moon. Okay, so a bit of a light hand from Clemens' side of things. Cursed Seal does cause some problems here, though. But you do have to discard a spell for Cursed Seal, I believe. So you do have to keep the book in hand if you do that. But Yaichi coming down here, you know that the opponent does not have monsters. And okay, Grandmaster coming down as well. Gonna be pretty good there overall. And yeah, just pass them back. I think that makes sense. Cursed Seal versus Samurai. I mean, it doesn't sound great, but I think they were just like, what do I have in my side deck for this? And they're like, well, I need to hit the Reasoning. And, you know, you hit Reasoning, you cut off a big special summon avenue for 6 Sams. So I think it does make some sense, but it definitely is coming back to bite Clemens here, especially going second. But based on how M-Show's played game 1, where they saved the Reasoning play for the later turn, I think it can make some sense. But yeah. Okay, it looks like Yaichi can just pop Ring. Okay, Ring is just going for the Yaichi first thing. I think that makes sense. Will Yaichi pop the Grandmaster? If you pop Grandmaster, you don't get its effect off, but is there a set that you really want to hit? Maybe not. Unless you've got Reasoning in hand, another 6 Sam in hand as well. That's pretty good. But I don't know, you might just let this go through, because, like, what are they doing to kill you here? Like, book on the Grandmaster into drawing a monster to attack in. That is something there. Okay, that will be fine. So taking 1,300 there. As a note, something that some people do is they're like, oh, if I pop my own Grandmaster with my 6 Sam effect, I get the effect. You don't actually get that effect off. It's only when it's destroyed by an opponent's card effect. So important to know about there. But just sitting on a Grandmaster is honestly fine. Attacking in for 21, and that will indeed go through, because you probably have the read that the set is Curse Seal. Or at least I would assume the set's Curse Seal. Especially given with how they popped the Yaichi there. If it was not Curse Seal, you'd probably just wait, because you could chain whatever you did to the Yaichi. So, yeah, Grandmaster replacement not triggering the bounce to hand is so frustrating. I agree. It is kind of just anti-synergy, but, like, I get it. I think they were just too afraid that, like, it would be too powerful if you could do it with that, but I don't know. It's tricky. It's tricky to balance that sort of thing, but Necro Valley coming down. Will that be fine? It looks like that will be fine. And Spear Soldier coming down, so that can attack over the 6 Sam there when you book it. So declaring an attack, but that's going to get Magic Cylindered. That's going to be pretty good. 2,000 damage there. However, Book of Moon is still going to cause you problems here. So what exactly do you do there? Okay, go into main 2. Set in another. Set in another, passing back. I mean, you know that the sets are Book of Moon, Curse Seal, and Right. So you know those exactly. So you know that they can't use Curse Seal here, so you're free to use whatever spells you want. And you probably have the read that one of those 2 sets is book. Or else they probably would have just kept the board state the same. I mean, they could have set Right as well, but like, I don't know. Anyways, a bit trickier. Smashing is going to be pretty good. Popping that Spear Soldier. You can't Curse Seal that because you need a card in hand. Necro doesn't really do much against 6 Sams because, like I mentioned, like, Grandmaster can still add itself back, I believe, because Necro Valley only stops other cards from moving things out of the graveyard. But if a card moves itself out of the graveyard, then it's fine. That's just how it worked at the time. So going for 4, but hitting a Yaichi off the top. So Yaichi's going to be pretty good here, popping one of those back row. Yeah, just going for the most common result, I think, off the reasoning. Question is, do you go for the Yaichi? I think you still do. You know that 2 of the back row are chainable. So that's the awkward thing there. But you probably want to bait out those chains now rather than later. But Yaichi's kind of in an awkward spot here. Yeah, you attacking in, I think that's also fine. This basically does the same thing that you do if you did Yaichi pop just in general, because it does bait out a back row here. So yeah, there's the Right. And I assume the other set card here is a book, like the one closest to Necro Valley. I assume that's book. You probably just bait it out now, I assume. But yeah, since Yaichi did declare an attack, you don't actually get to use its effect here to pop the other one. So yeah. Battle Fade, yeah, just baiting out the book makes sense to me. There's the book on the Grandmaster. And then main 2, set in 1, passing back. So better hope that's something to protect the Grandmaster here. Otherwise, you're in kind of a rough spot. I mean, Curse Seal, you can still pop with the Yaichi if you get another 6 Sam, but they are going to be attacking into that Grandmaster here. Will the other backer protect it? No, it will not. So that'll be 1,200 damage here overall. So yeah, I think, honestly, it's tough to say. You might have been better off popping the set with Yaichi in main 1 just to try and pop the book, because book does cause problems with you, with the Grandmaster losing to the Spear Soldier here. So yeah, maybe that was a bit of a misplay on M-Shob's part, but I think they're still in a good spot. They're still, like, I mean, there are plenty of cards here that they can do to, okay, Heavy is going to be pretty good here. Will they get Curse Sealed? It might. If that last card in hand is a spell, I think it will. Because, like, you know that they're going to go for, they're only doing this to do something pretty nasty, right? So yeah, that will indeed stop that. But it looks like hard tributing out a Sidra is going to be pretty good here, attacking over the Spear Soldier. That did bait out the entire hand, which is pretty good there. So that's probably the intention of the Heavy there. Because you probably wanted to make them think like, oh, you know, I got like Zanji or an Iroh in hand that's going to beat over your Spear Soldier if we clear the Necro Valley. So very, very clever move from M-Shobes there. And that Sidra might go the distance here. Okay, set monster. That's about as good as it gets for Clemens' deck here. You need Iroh plus a 6 Sam to clear that, but it looks like they're just going to attack in with the Sidra hitting into a guard. It'll be 300 damage from M-Shobes. And then probably a special of the Sidra here, unless you want to hold it for if they've got like... No, I don't think you can hold it because you're taking a lot of damage there otherwise. So, yeah, they're the Sidra back to hand. And you probably special it out again. Maybe not. Maybe you're just like, well... Yeah, the thing is, if there's Right in the back row, then that's rough. But yeah, they do take 300 from that. But yeah, Tribute Summoning Cyber Dragon always hurts, but yeah. Yep, they did take 300. That was caught, luckily. But yeah, it's a bit of a think. Do you summon out that Sidra again? Do you not? I would lean towards doing it, but I'm a very, scared individual in general. It's probably fine if you hold it. The one thing that really kills you here is if they've got right plus assailant. Like if they draw into assailant and they've got a right set, then you're dead. But otherwise, you're probably fine. I mean, ring kills both players here, so yeah. I mean, the reason not to is if they've got assailant, then they attack into. Yep, that's the reason not to right there. But you've got a TT set, so makes sense. Solemn though, okay, Solemn's gonna be a bit brutal here. So yeah, this will be able to clear the Sidra. Okay. Yeah, a bit of a scary spot to be in here. Yep. So, not switching the guard to attack, that makes sense to me. Now, M-Shubs does have multiple ways to potentially get around this, but it will be a bit of a tricky one actually figuring out how to get there, depending on what's in hand. 6-Ms are kind of bad in top deck mode, so that is a big worry here. Iroh coming down, that is not what you want to see if you're Clemens, because that means that there's something here to do something. Oh, Braincon. Yep, Braincon will do it. So Braincon on the Assailant. Assailant can, switch the battle position of the guard, and that will indeed be the end of the game. So, yeah, GG's indeed. Yeah, very good stuff. Okay, and M-Shows will be moving on to face off against Baboon Burn in the finals of the locals. Very, very cool stuff there. Yeah, 6-Sam versus Baboon Burn. Who do we think will win? I'll put up a poll in the chat. Very interesting games, as Gerbil says. I agree. I think these games have been a blast to watch. Like, I don't think, like, it's always an open question, like, how much these locals represent the actual tournament themselves. Why is this saying I've got a typo with who will win? That better? Oh, it's because I have a capital I. There we go. But I think that they're very fun for their own right, even if they're not representative of what like an actual like multi-day big tournament would look like. I think they're still very fun to watch. We got M-Shobes versus Splevin here. I'm gonna put up a poll. Who will win? M-Shobes, aka 6-Sams, or Splevin, aka Baboon Burn? Baboon Burn. Baburn, if you will. Okay, poll is up if you want to vote in that. And we'll see who the audience favors here. Okay, looks like we've already got 100% of the votes going to Splevin on Baboon Burn. I mean, Splevin's a very, very good player, and Baboon Burn's a very, very good deck. But if I've learned one thing covering these GX era formats, never count 6-Sams out. It's always a deck that can surprise you in interesting ways. And so we'll see if this is what happens here. Need revenge against my GKs. Fair enough. Coffee's going to be pretty good here, ripping a card out of hand. Obviously not as good as if they were going first, but, beggars can't be choosers. Yeah, let's see what this rips. Uh-oh, yeesh. It's a yeesh hand. You never want to see that. You never want to see a hand that makes you go yeesh. Yeesh. Okay, pitching a Ojama trio here. Yeesh. Yeesh for you. Maybe, yeah, it could be. So this actually could be a bit of a rough one. Looks like there's Jester, Ceasefire, and Mirror Force in hand. Okay. That is a hand. That is a hand of all traps. That's wild. Cider coming down here to beat over the set monster. No Baboon in hand, at least. So that's nice. No Mirror Force set, as well. So you can sort of play into Mirror Force pretty well. Reasoning coming down. What will Splevin call? Probably 5. Probably 5. Maybe 4, but I think probably 5. You don't want the Grandmaster coming in rotation. Unless you get like Bottomless or something, but probably Bottomless the Sidra, maybe. I don't know. Tough to say. Maybe you go 4 if you don't want Iroh to come down, but I feel like you're just more afraid of 5, right? Like Iroh is less likely to be hit off Reasoning than search out off like Rhoda or something, so probably just go 5. Looks like it does Zanji. Zanji will be pretty good here. And just popping the set monster, depending on what it is, if you got another 6-Sam here. Trio getting used now. That is going to be a bit annoying for the 6-Sam deck. Not the end of the world, but still very annoying, especially with a Just Desserts in hand. It's probably still attack here, I assume. But yeah, Sams cannot be called right. I mean, they're playing a variety of different levels in there. The one downside if this is, okay, the squall you probably don't care too much about there. So this will cost M-Shubs 1,200 there. but you're getting in for 18, so that's pretty decent. The scary thing here is that Just Desserts is going to cause you major problems here. But those two back row might be ways to deal with it. Might be like MSTs or Dust Tornadoes or things like that. Just to deal with that back row, potentially hitting Mirror Force as well. But yeah, it's 2,500 damage coming from a Just Desserts. Ceasefire dealing 15 on top of that. It's a lot of damage. And setting all three back rows. You know Mirror Force is back there. You know Ceasefire is back there. You know Just Desserts back there. And no end of turn spell trap removal, which means that this probably, those back row are probably not spell trap removers. So yeah, getting locked out of the 2/6 Sams is a major, major oof. And yeah, it's one of the strengths of Sloan's deck against 6 Sams, honestly. Switching the Zanji to defense to play around Mirror Force a bit here. And it looks like Rat will be the card. Rat bringing out a Panda, probably. Maybe a Cat even, but I feel like you go Panda here. Yeah, I feel like you go Cat. Or, okay, going for another Rat. That's fine, too. Maybe just assembling pieces together to make a bigger ceasefire or things like that. Spelman was watching the previous games that M-Shop's played, so they know about Magic Cylinder as well. They don't necessarily want to run into a Magic Cylinder with a Panda, so yeah, switching that Rat to defense, setting another passing back, so ceasefire is just getting bigger and bigger. But yeah. Yeah, it's rough that Ojamatrio locks out 2/6 from being on field, but yeah, that's one of the strengths of the Ojamatrio deck. Ojamatrio, very interesting application sometimes to just lock out certain decks from winning certain games that they should win otherwise. But yes, Hydra attacking into a Spy. And then another card being set there in the back row, passing back. Yeah. Yeah, no, can't have six 6/6 on field together until we get the extra monster done, as Gerbil says. Yeah, quite unfortunate. Yeah. But yeah, you can't have the 6 original ones either. But, it's the flavor of the thing. They're waving the wings to support each other, maybe. I don't know 6 Sam lore. But, yeah, this is going to be a bit of a rough one for M-Shops to get out of, unless they're like maining Decree, which I don't think they are, but I don't know. Maybe we just haven't seen it. The 5 fighters. I mean, we don't know what's the name of 6 Samurai in the original Japanese. Okay, ceasefire getting activated now. Okay, it seems like they're not mirror forcing here. Otherwise, they would have gone Mirror Force Chainlink 1 and then Ceasefire Chainlink 2. Ring on what? Probably the Rat. Yep, Ring on Rat. So this will be 1,500 damage off Ceasefire instead of 2,000. Still a scary spot to be in. One Just Search gets flipped up here. Will another get flipped up as well? They're thinking. Let's see, that's 2,500 plus 1,500 plus 1,400 is going to be a lot of damage. So, yeah, Grandmaster can tribute over the Cider, which is a good thing. But it seems like he did not have Grandmaster yet. So, but that would be a good move here when they get it. But bit of a thinker here, so it seems like they might have something. Looks like that will be fine with the one Just Desserts going off there. Chainlink 4, a second Just Desserts. Secret Barrel, okay. Will something be chained to the Secret Barrel? No, it will not. That'll just be the end of the game, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's how it goes sometimes. I think maybe there's a world in which you just get more aggressive with Zanji and Cider just being like, okay, I'm going to make you use up Mirror Force here to prevent myself from having as many monsters on field, and you're kind of cooked there either way. So yeah, chains admit defeat, yeah. You can't admit defeat in the middle of resolution of a card, I believe, but you can admit defeat on the activation of a card. So, yep. Game 1 to Splevin. 60% of people say that Splevin is a shoo-in for this one. But only 5 votes, so it's 3 of 5 votes, so it's still neck and neck here. 2 people say that M-Shows on 6 Sam can win. And after siding, burn decks do get a bit worse there. So, yeah. So I don't know. We'll have to see exactly who comes out of this one on top. Could go either way. Both these players are very good. In terms of how many locals they've won, let's go through the list here. No, these players have won a game. I thought these players have won locals in the past. It seems like Splendid won 1. Okay, Splendid won 1. Seems like I could have sworn that M-Show's won 1, but M-Show's a great duelist. Gets to just have not made it all the way to the end for winning a locals yet. But yeah. Okay, here we go. on to the game 2. So yeah, that was a good GG indeed. Yeah, I think going for Comfy turn 1 is fine, honestly. I think it's fine. I think the big thing there, honestly, is if you see Trio in hand and you know that they have set a card in the back row, maybe you hold off on going for Sidra. Maybe you hold the Sidra in hand, being like, well, I need my 6 amps to be online. If this is a Trio, then I lose the game. So I think, honestly, that might be what you do, but it's still tough. It's still tough. I don't know. So, yeah, 6 Warman. How many Warmen would there be to alliterate that? The 1 Warman? I guess the 1 Warman. I think that's the only... I guess the 100 Warman. That would be kind of cool. Yeah, setting 1, passing back. Not necessarily the best spot to be in, but it seems like there's probably a Sidra in hand, I assume. Or just waiting on their plays a bit here. Is there going to be a Decree fired? Looks like no. So maybe they don't have Decree. Maybe they're like, well, I can let 1 trap go through if I Decree on this. But I don't know. Let's see what M-Shobes does here. Just passing back. Oof. Yeah, it seems like it's just Sidra in hand. Sidra plus some bricks, you know. But that seems to be what they're waiting for here. Dust Tornado on the back row hitting a Call of the Haunted. Oof, that is a good Dust Tornado. To be fair, that would hit the Call of the Haunted there either way. But yeah, Trio getting used up as well in the end phase, putting 3 tokens on the field there. That's not a good sign. That's not a good sign at all. Also, another back row set, so now you can go Sidra here, crash into one of the tokens, and this might be a board lock. It might be a board lock if that is another Ojama Trio set, so that would be kind of rough here for M-Shobes, but it can happen. Stand by. What's going to happen here? Yep, there's the Trio. There is the Trio, and that's going to probably wrap things up. I mean, 6 amps don't really have the most ways to deal with this sort of board lock, and Spawn just has to draw into what they need to, you know, finish off the game here. So, not ideal for M-Shobes here. I don't know how they get out of this one. It sort of seems just like a march to defeat at this point, but they might have ways to deal with it. Mystic Walk is something you can play against burn decks, and that's very good against Ojama Trio. So, yeah, Smashing Granite's to deal with the Sidra, but, like, I don't know. Maybe save that for the Panda instead, but it's just rough here. I don't know what you really do here. Ojama Cinco, exactly as Jay and Joe says. Or Ojama, what's the word for, you know, you got, like, duo, trio, quartet. What's the word for 5? I know that 6 is sextet, but, like, 7 is heptet, I think. Like, I know the prefix for 5 for, like, a pentagon is penta, right? But, like, pentet? That doesn't feel right. Quintet, that's what it is. Thank you, Gerbil. Oh, yeah. I didn't know that because there's, like, an anime that's, like, the quintessential quintuplets, right? But, yeah, I've never seen that anime because it's not my type of show. But I do know about that. I don't think that he can break it 95 Clemmy. I think this probably is the end of the game. But you never know. You never know what people have sided in. Again, yeah, Trent Tribute is something that they can do, but honestly, Spawn just has to wait for like triple trio or triple Justice Urge and stuff like that. Yeah, Ring can break it. Ring can break it. So that is something as well. Yeah, Ring on one of your own tokens, and then you can bring out a monster on top of that. But frankly, it's not looking good. Frankly, it's looking like this is probably going to be the end of the game. Yeah, Spawn won't summon monsters exactly 95 Clemmy. They need to draw into what they need to win, right? The burn stuff. So, yeah, pitching a card here. What are they going to pitch? Maybe a 6-Sam or Sidra. That also makes sense. Yeah, not looking good. Not looking good here one bit. Setting another, passing back. I think this is just a slow march. Slow march to the end. At 95 Clemmy says they're just going to wait until they draw enough burn cards to deal 8,000 damage. So, yeah, slow march to the end. That's how it goes sometimes. Pitching a come on. Come on makes some sense to be in the deck as well. But yeah, not looking good. Anyway, while this game wraps up to its conclusion, you know, how are people doing? People enjoying the format? What do you think about Trooper? Let me know in the comments, either in the chat or down in the comments below. If you're watching it after the fact, I think Trooper is a very fun format. Obviously, like, an interesting way to end the game. Not necessarily the most engaging way to end a stream, but it's got its own sort of things when you get into game states like this. You know, the back and forth of what do they have, what do they not have, what can they do to out this, what am I drawing for, things like that. So there is some interesting dynamics there. It's just, yeah, Demise Insect is not hit really, so that's nice. But the unfortunate thing is that Triple Dust Shoot hurts the deck a fair bit, but it was not enough to hurt it that much in Demise. And in Trooper format, it's still a similar level of power, so that's pretty cool. Shrunade here, probably going to wrap things up, I assume. If you're going for Shrunade, you're probably going for lethal. That'd be my guess. Seems like that's okay for M-Shopes, though. Chaining adjusters to the Shrunade. Will there be like a decree chained here? Ring. Okay, ring on one of those tokens. Adjusters on the chaining of ring. So, yeah, this is probably going to be lethal damage here. Yeah, that's going to be 25 plus 3, so 28 plus 2,000. That's 4,800 damage already. Yeah, 25 and then 300 and then 2,000. So, yeah, 4,800 damage already. They're down to 2,900. No back row to protect themselves. So, yeah. Drip Dupe combo is also pretty cool. I agree with that. I like it a lot. People shift away from that, but it's still fun. It can still win games here and there. It's still a decent deck. You see it in certain tournaments and stuff like that. Cat or Panda or, a variety of different things here is just going to be the end of the game for M-Shopes here. I feel like Splevin is just going to go for lethal here because, you wouldn't necessarily go for Trinity otherwise. So, yeah. But still cool to see other decks win. Even if it ended up being Zone Lock Turbo in a way. But, yeah. Oh, not quite lethal. Okay. Yeah, so they were hoping for no ring. But I mean, this has to be pretty much the end of the game. Because next turn you attack in. Well, you don't even have to attack in next turn potentially. So yeah, this is going to be 2,100 damage. So M-Ship's down to 800. Can't use Brain Con, can't use Pre-Mat. Yeah, I mean, this probably is over. Yeah. But yep, as Herbal said, the stream has shown precisely why Ojama Trio got limited on the March 2008 ban list. Yeah, I mean, Trio can be annoying at zone locking if you're able to set it up. I do think there are side deck outs to it. There are, like, all just, depending on how you play, outs to it as well. But it definitely is a bit of a rough card here. Panadol's at 2,300, not 2,800. Could M-Shopes mount a comeback here from this position? Maybe. It's a bit tricky. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they do here to get out of the situation. No brain con access is very, very big here. Brain con would be one of the ways you break this, but don't have that. Yeah, exactly. And I think that there are different philosophies to banning cards. Right, Jero brings up a good point that Trio isn't the most powerful thing, but it certainly isn't a good time to be on the receiving end of. And, like, there are different philosophies, right? Like, do you ban a card that's making the format feel bad, even if it's not the best, right? Or do you ban just the most powerful things and say, well, this, BS strategy is annoying, but, like, ultimately we're going to be fine with it being in the format, right? And I personally lean on the side of, like, if it's a BS strategy that people are not enjoying at all, like, just ban it, or just get out of it. Because, like, if it's living rent-free in the minds of your player base, it's probably not the best thing, right? But, people go back and forth on that. Some people are like, well, it's fine if, like, you don't actually, if it's got out and you can beat it and stuff, and you just got to get good against it. But I don't know. It's tricky to say. Come on. Come on. It's here. Come on is here, popping those face-up spell traps. But no face-up spell traps to pop. Probably not the best hit there. Yeah, the 6 Samurai. Come on. Come on. Come on. Look at him. He's got a bit of dynamite there. Come on. Exiled Force to pop one of the sets. Popping a giant rat there. Probably going to be a Grandmaster coming down now. But the thing is, like, that panda is so big. How do you deal with the panda, right? Oh, or he snapped the panda. That works too. Yeah, I mean, that does work. Kind of an awkward spot to be in, but it does work. I don't even think you attack into the set. It's not koala, so that's nice, but you don't necessarily know what it is, right? So Splovin maybe gave Mchobes an opportunity to get back into it here, maybe. Mchobes is 800, which is low, but Gramol's going to be pretty good here, bouncing back that Panda. But that is if the attack connects, because that could be a set like Magic Cylinder or something like that. But also you're probably not too upset about Panda returning the hand. Did clear it for a turn at least. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, definitely seems bad for Mchobes, but they're not out of it yet, you know? Especially with no back row there. Is Iroh going to come down, attack over that set monster? Maybe, maybe not. Yep, Iroh is coming down. So there's the Iroh attacking in the set, popping the set. And now Mchobes can finally chip in for 1,500 damage here. If Wave Mode can't ever gets activated, then the Command can use that. Rhoda here. What's Rhoda going to grab? Gaichi. Okay. Oh, no. Oh, no. Yeah, that's the end of the game. Panda is lethal here unless you got Karibo, but yeah, it's going to be the end of the game. Damn, that's rough. Rough stuff. Splovin will win another locals here. But very, very intense stuff there indeed. GG's all around, even though the Ojama Trio lock is definitely rough. But yeah, Baboon Burn taking a locals here. Baboon Burn, very good deck. So hopefully more people play it in the future. But that's going to do it for this locals. I hope that you all enjoyed. As always, I'll be holding another one of these next weekend. Let's see. Probably, maybe not in Dad Return quite yet, but we'll be having Dad Return locals soon as we get into that on the channel as well. But I hope you all enjoyed as always. And until next time, I've been Ben from YGO from Zero. Signing off. Peace.